Карат, мы готовы, работаем.
Огонь.
3 штуки.
A Ukrainian kamikaze drone attempted to land on a position of Russian infantry in the Donetsk region. At the last moment, the drone was destroyed in mid-air. The attack of the Russian Air Force on the airborne center of the armed forces of Ukraine in the village of Daryevka on the Kherson direction. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that Russian anti-tank missile systems destroyed camouflaged armored vehicles and firing positions of the Ukrainian armed forces using nomadic weapon tactics.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe and like.
Наблюдаем, лесополоса. Правая окраина, высокое дерево.
Выстрел!
It all starts with a group of UAV operators getting as close to the front line as possible and starting to monitor the airspace. Here are new shots of the combat work of the Vostok Group soldiers, who also took part in the liberation of the village of Yanvarske in the Dnepropetrovsk region. Day and night, UAV pilots blocked attacks by heavy Baba Yaga Ukrainian UAVs trying to stop the advance of Russian forces. The small FPVs sacrificed themselves and remained active in the sky, preventing a major disaster for Russian soldiers on the ground. Russian Garan UAVs visited a small airfield in Krasnoye, Chernihiv region, where Ukrainian UAVs are stored. Russian fighters destroyed a mortar and a truck loaded with ammunition belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces near Konstantinovka. This is how all the images were captured on the objective camera. Be sure to write in the comments what you think about the use of drones in war. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. In the Seversk direction, Russian reconnaissance troops using the FPV drone KVN uncovered and destroyed another Ukrainian armed forces UAV control center. In addition, the aircraft type Molnia UAV was also used during the recent attacks. UAV operators of the Motorized Rifle Battalion of the 218th Tank Regiment of the 127th Division of the 5th Army, 127th Division of the Eastern Group, detected and destroyed an enemy mortar. Zaporizhia region. Russian reconnaissance operators discovered the movement of infantry of the armed forces of Ukraine. Soldiers came out of the woods and hid in the ruined house. After precisely calculating the coordinates, attack drones moved in and destroyed the house. (83rd Division), ODSHBR's fiber optics destroy Ukrainian Armed Forces armored vehicles in Sumy region. The first frame shows an attack through the rear door of the M577 armored car, which was left open. Why do you think the door is left open in the middle of a war? The second frame shows the abandonment of the Kozak 2M1 armored vehicle, again with the doors left wide open. This allows for the destruction of intact vehicles in a single attack. The third frame shows the destruction of a T-64BV tank camouflaged among dense trees. Sumy direction. Patrolling in the Nikolskoye residential area, the Rubicon team detected an HMMMWV trying to escape. Despite attempts by Ukrainian soldiers to shoot down the UAV with firearms, the vehicle was successfully shot down. Central troops continue their offensive in the direction of Krasnoarmysk. To destroy bunkers and firing points, attacking aircraft use high explosive devices and drop them into hiding places. A few images of the Russian infantry attacks on the front line. Kursk Archive. Iksevods were among the first vehicles to repel the offensive of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region. Thanks to the Lancets, they destroyed advancing Ukrainian armored vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and tanks. Lancet drones were used during the attacks, as well as FPV drone strikes. A large number of Ukrainian tanks and armored vehicles appear to have been destroyed. A short GoPro footage of Russian motorcycle soldiers from the front line. Early morning, light rain and cool weather. Anwar Special Forces support the offensive in the border area, destroying equipment and positions together with the infantry of the armed forces of Ukraine. Sumy region. Two Ukrainian armed forces armored vehicles were destroyed north of Donetsk. A German Panzer II, Brem, and an American M113A3 armored personnel carrier ended their combat journey on the territory of Donetsk. Abandoned armored vehicles scrapped by precision strikes by FPV drone operators. Why do you think these operational armored vehicles were abandoned? UAV operators of the Baikal Group of the Reconnaissance Battalion of the 40th Independent Guards Marine Brigade destroyed a drone control point in Otradnoye. The fiber-optic drone Prince Vandal of Novgorod was used in this attack. The fiber optic drone first destroyed the entrance door to the basement. The second other drone penetrated into the basement and caused the basement to collapse. Two Russian soldiers are struggling to fulfill their company commander's mission on the front line. They are trying to survive in an open field under heavy fire from Ukrainian artillery. Ukrainian artillery forces could not hit two Russian soldiers despite all their efforts. Then, as the soldiers continued on their way, this time they came face to face with a Ukrainian attack FPV drone. A Russian soldier made a clever move. The Russian soldier threw his rifle at the Ukrainian attack drone. In this way, they survived the attack unscathed. After surviving the artillery and drone attacks, the two Russian soldiers continued on their way. Here are the images of Russian soldiers fighting from the front line. The defeat of the equipment of the armed forces of Ukraine with a drone over fiber optics in one direction of the front line. Russian reconnaissance units quickly identified three mortar positions of the Ukrainian armed forces. Without delay, drone operators flew to the mortar positions in three different locations. The mortars were destroyed with a single strike. UAV operators of the 37th Separate Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 36th Combined Arms Army destroyed an abandoned armored personnel carrier vehicle in the direction of South Donetsk. Such abandoned vehicles can be a trap. Therefore, their destruction is important for the security of the region. Pokrovsk direction. In the Novo-Nikolaevka settlement, Russian drone operators ambushed Ukrainian armed forces personnel and armored vehicles. The Russian drone, which is waiting with its engine and propeller turned off, immediately turns on its engine when the target approaches and hits the target directly. In the same region, a Russian drone ambushed two American-made Humvees. The Russian drone collided head-on with the Humvee. Operators of attack UAVs of the 132nd Independent Guard Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Southern Group destroyed a Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV checkpoint near the village of Delivka. After the checkpoint was hit by the fiber optic drone, the personnel inside took refuge in another house. However, Russian drone operators detected their location and carried out a strike operation on that house as well.
I'm so exposed there. This is not a good position.
Shut up and watch your sector. Let's go, man! Let's go! Cover me! Cover me!
Meet the new foreign camouflage design entering mass production. Footage of how the village of Pyatikatki, Zaporizhzhia direction, was liberated. Novorossiysk paratroopers destroyed the basements of the Ukrainian armed forces. Then they hit every point where the infantry changed positions. The Ukrainian force constantly changed positions but could not escape the drones. Then a group of Russian forces organized operations against the houses where the Ukrainian forces were located. The air and ground operations were successful, and the security of the region was ensured. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Everyone take a few minutes to pay tribute to this drone operator and write your comments about this operator, Sumy region. The Russian fiber optic drone operator made a fuss in the Ukrainian armed forces camp, controlling it very skillfully. The network corridors of the Ukrainian armed forces could not stop the Russian drone operator. He maneuvered very deftly and made a very comfortable tour of the Ukrainian camp. It's really an incredible sight, in my opinion. Kharkiv direction. Russian VT-40 drones destroyed 7 vehicles in the same area. Some of the vehicles were moving and some were parked. Attack drones destroyed all these vehicles during reconnaissance. The crews of the vehicles now have to go on foot. The two S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled howitzer, which was camouflaged at the same time, was also destroyed by successive drone strikes. Pokrovsk direction. This is how the Russian fiber optic drone operators, Prince Vandal of Novgorod, destroyed a tank of the Ukrainian armed forces in the basement. They made great efforts to hide and protect the tank, but it still did not survive the fiber optic drone attack. In the same direction, fiber optic drone operators destroyed the German Marder armored vehicle after 2 accurate hits. Then its operators found a camouflaged self-propelled howitzer and shot it down, turning it into scrap.